What's up, guys, and thanks for tuning in to B.A.M.F Fabricator. I'm Tubal Kane. Today we're going to be working on the 1970 Ford pickup fender. It has some rust in your usual areas, but this isn't just rust. This is a bad patch somebody put on here and then they just bondoed over it. So we're going to actually redo this and make it look really nice. We're going to build a patch and weld it in. So let's jump into the video. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pattern this area so we know exactly where our bends are and how to build that piece of metal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tape and I'm going to actually pattern this spot right here where we have good metal, because this just continues right on down. So I'm going to take my tape, I'm going to just start laying it over. So you can see this is where our patch ends, but I'm sure rust goes a little beyond that, and I don't really want to weld inside this ditch, so we're going to go a little beyond that. So I'm going to go somewhere around here. That should work. I also want to know where this bend is going to be, so I'm going to mark center of this bend. And this starts to go up in this area, and I don't want to mark in there, so I'm going to mark center of the bend like right here. Looks to be pretty good. And then I'm going to mark that with my straight edge. That's where center of that bend is. And I'm also going to mark the edges of the bend so I know exactly where to stop bending. So I'd say somewhere right here. And again, somewhere right here. We're going to do the same thing, marking the center. And we're going to do this one down here too. Center of the bend. That was some hash marks. Then starts. Now, I don't need any of this, so I'm just going to cut this off with the razor blade. Then I'm going to cut this off right here where this fender ends too. Now we have a pattern for our patch. You always want to pull this off starting from your first piece of tape. That way it all comes off in one swoop. Now you can see this patch will cover this whole thing right here. Okay, so now we got our piece of metal. We'll go ahead and lay this on there. I'm going to mark where our bend lines are. And the outer portion of our patch we're going to make. And line up my marks. Okay, so we're going to start by bending this top line right here. And I'm just going to use this big 4x4 piece of square that I got laying around. I'm going to use its edge to bend that radius. Oh, slipped out on that side. Now that I know more or less where it's at, I'm just going to hammer this side in because pinching it doesn't seem to work all that well. Let's check it on the fender. Now you can see when I lay this in here, with that mark on our center line, the center of the inside radius, we can see how it fits real nice in here. And it fits nice on both sides. We actually have our angle perfect. So now we're gonna work on this next bend. All right, to do this next bend, I'm gonna just set this on here. I'm gonna clamp it down with this piece of square. Just slowly push it down. All right, that fits pretty nice. I'm gonna have to do some manipulating because we have to also put some curvature in this, like this way. So we'll do that now, just by bending it on the knee. You can see with very little pressure, it's matching up quite well. So now it's time to do this bend. Now you can see that's fitting pretty nice. Fitting really nice, actually. Let's go ahead and scribe around our patch so we know where we're going to cut, and we'll end up cutting that out. Okay. So I'm going to set it in the place I think would be best and then clamp it in here with this spring clamp. So I'm going to mark the outside of the patch. Okay, let's go ahead and cut that out. So before we go cutting that patch out, I need to drill out a couple spot welds on the bottom. Let's go ahead and cut this brace straight across. We'll just cut it off and weld it back on whenever we're done. Now you can kind of see what they did here. They just got that piece of metal, stuck it on the back, and just welded it right on the front. They even got body filler worms coming out. Let's go ahead and cut this on our scribe line here. All right, let's go ahead and start tacking this in. I'm going to start tacking it where it's smoothest, you know, where this metal lines up the best. And it seems like right in front of this clamp and right behind this clamp is where it's lining up best. So start right there. All right, now that we got that all tacked up, it all feels really good. It looks really good. I'm gonna just go ahead and weld this without stopping, pretty much, all the way around, because we're gonna planish this out anyway. We got access to the backside since we cut out that brace, so let's just weld this sucker on. You can see that all that heat is real nice and consistent. Let's go ahead and grind the top of this, and then we'll grind the bottom of it, and then we'll planish it out. We're gonna bust out our slapper hammer and our egg-shaped dolly, and we're gonna get this weld to look like it never happened. So we always start with our magnum marker. We're gonna scuff it. Start knocking down that high spot, knocking up that low spot. I'm gonna do a hammer off dolly because I want this low to come up, I want that high to go down. So I'm gonna put the dolly right in this low spot, and I'm gonna tap this high spot. Alright, we got that high spot to come down quite a bit. That's pretty low, so I'm going to tap that from the backside with a regular hammer. Hammer off dolly again. This time I'm going to put the dolly on the high spot and tap that low spot from the bottom. Reverse. Okay, it's feeling pretty good. I'm going to redo this one. Okay, we got a low spot there. These are all high. That low spot I'm going to hit from the back too because it's pretty drastic. It's feeling much better. All right, this part's going to go pretty quick right here, so I'm just going to start tapping on that. So now that we got everything done, I drilled a couple of holes where those spot welds were. We're gonna re-weld on these spot welds right here, weld this sucker back up, and then this fender's done. So let me bust out the MIG welder, and we'll start welding. Grind these welds off on this inside edge. All right guys, this fender is done. And it came out really nice. I'm happy with the way it came out. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you got any questions or anything, leave them down in the comment section. It always helps the channel when you guys like and comment. So if you guys like this kind of stuff, obviously go check out my other videos. I appreciate you guys for tuning in once again, and we'll see you in the next video.